My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We're going to trash talk today. Trash talk? What's Donna talking about? Trash talk? We're going to come up with 15 ways to repurpose trash. Are you like me where you really just don't want to throw some things away? You look at it and you're about to put it in trash, and then you think, no, I think I can probably use this for something. Later on, be careful not to be a pack rat. You don't want to do that. But there are some really useful things you can do with some of your trash instead of throwing it away. You're also helping the landfill as well. So let's talk about those. One of those is boxes. And I have a really hard time throwing boxes away because, see, I use boxes as long as they don't have some kind of a waxy touching to them on the outside or the inside. I use them for gardening. And so I just keep them down and I'll throw them. And somewhere where I think I might have a garden next year, I'll go ahead and put the wet cardboard down on the ground, and then I'll put some kind of vinyl or plastic sheeting on top of it. And then it's just automatically, it's good dirt. It's going to get down into the ground, and you're going to have a great ground to plant strawberries or whatever you're thinking about growing. But let's find out what this article says. It's DIYnatural.com, doityourselfnatural.com. Boxes, that's one of them. From cereal boxes to cardboard boxes. This author says, I use them all for storage. I cut cereal boxes in half from the top to the bottom, and then I turn them sideways. They're great for holding lids. They're often lost. That's a grand idea right there. Or they're too small for a basket. Milk crates, those made to hold 4-gallon size jugs, stack neatly in storage. So you can label the side and you're good to go. I think that's a grand idea. Pantyhose. What are you going to do with your pantyhose? A lot of people don't wear them, but I do because I'm always freezing to death. So I do. They'll eventually wear out. You get runs all over them. So here's what this author says about pantyhose. Okay, I don't wear them often, but when I do, they always run. I mean, I'm always going to bump into stuff. Rather than throwing them out, I use them for felting projects. I'm real anxious to hear this. They keep the yarns together for wool felting. It's perfect for felting your wool dryer balls. I also store onions and potatoes in them. Drop one in a toe and tie a knot above it. Drop in another, tie that one too. Continue until you run out of room. Then hang them in the kitchen or the pantry, so when you need one, just cut it off. Then take the section you cut off and cut it into bands. Use these for ties and things for like tying up your tomato plants. That's a grand idea. I love that. Okay, plant tops. What do you do with plant tops? And I've done this one. Okay, you guys have seen a show on this, but listen to this. This is really good. This is one of my favorites. You can grow carrots, turnips, and pineapples just by using the tops. For root vegetables, soak the top in water a few days until you start seeing some roots. Then you want to plant it as you would any transplant. Like for pineapples, try this old pineapple farmer trick. Cut the top off the pineapple and remove the flesh. And you want to save this. So peel off the first 2 to 3 layers of leaves from the bottom, and you'll see these little small squiggly fibers. These are roots. Take a short glass and fill almost to the top with water. Put the pineapple top in the water. Be sure the bottom is in contact with the water. Leave it in the water for about a week or so, and you should start seeing roots growing from the top. If you don't see roots within 2 weeks, just toss it in the compost. Sometimes you get one that just won't work. When you get a nice thick root mass, plant it in a pot, and you can leave it outside in the summer, but take it in when the night temperatures drop to around 50 degrees. That's a good idea, and you'll have yourself a pineapple tree. Instead of paying $50 for one, you just cut off the top of if it costs $5, I don't know if it costs that much or not, but you cut that off and you kind of keep it going. I do that with cabbage, and you've seen me do that. So I cut off that little core that's down at the bottom of it. It needs to be at least about a half or a quarter inch of a lip on the very bottom of that for it to work efficiently. And then just like she does here, you'll just put just a little bit of water. Don't soak it, just a little bit, just to barely cover the bottom of the core. And it's probably not even a quarter of an inch. And you want to pour the water out about every 2 or 3 days because this is weird stuff growing on the bottom of it. So you want to keep it clean. And I have cabbage growing from something I would have normally thrown away or put into the compost pile. Okay, pineapple skins. What can you do with pineapple skins? Oh, they're a great source of fruit acid. Okay, freeze them, and once or twice a week, take out a piece. Rub the smooth all over your face. Ooh, wow. Okay, now you got me going skincare. Okay, so they use this for skincare. Okay, let's go over this one again. Pineapple skins are a great source of fruit acid. So you freeze them, and once or twice a week, just take a piece out, rub the smooth side all over your face, and let the juice set for 15 to 30 minutes, then rinse it off with cold water. The fruit acids act like a mild chemical peel and will soften and smooth your skin. I have a friend who's an esthetician, and she just lives by the fact that you need to exfoliate your skin. And this would be a good way to do it, the natural way, not using chemical peels to do that. And so she's probably in her 80s now. She was in her 70s the last time I saw her, and her skin was just as smooth as it could be. And I said, there's no way you haven't had something done, some kind of surgery or something. She said, nope, never had any surgery done. And I said, why is your face so smooth? And she said, you have to slough off the dead skin cells. Ever since she said that, I do that. Okay, you can use like brown sugar scrubs. I like to do it the natural way. Brown sugar scrubs. I just don't want anything chemical on my face. So that's a good idea. Okay, all right. Number 5, fruit and vegetable scraps. I usually just get them, throw them in the compost pile. So this is what she says. When you've done all you can with your scraps, toss them in a blender with a bit of water. Once they're broken into small pieces, toss them into your compost. They'll biodegrade much faster, giving you quick compost. All right, that sounds like a good idea. So I do that, in a sense, I do that with my cardboard boxes. Again, that can't have a waxy film on it. It has to be just plain old cardboard. And if you'll soak them in water and then tear them into pieces, you'll find it's a lot easier, because if you do it with scissors, it's going to take you forever. Or with a knife, it's going to take a long time. But if they're wet, really, I'm talking soaking wet, okay, then you can just kind of rip it off and put it into your compost pile. Feed bags. Okay. Oh, yeah, because we have a big dog, and we have chickens and all that kind of stuff. So here's what she says. I have chickens and 2 dogs. Between them and the wild birds, I end up with a lot of feed bags. If they're beat up, I use them to hold trash. Yes, I do that sometimes. And that way I don't have to buy the great big huge trash bags. If they still look good, I donate them to a local woman who makes them into purses and tote bags. Oh, wow. I think so. Okay, let's see. Number 7, fabric and yard scraps. Okay, she says, I either use these for stuffing it's wanting to repurpose again here. Okay, so we're talking actually about 15 ways to purpose trash. We talked about the pantyhose and the plant tops, and then the pineapple skins and the fruit and vegetables. And so right now, we're going to go ahead and get back into fabric and yard scraps. Okay, she says, I either use these for stuffing if I'm filling something, like a cushion. I'm pretty sure that's what she's talking about. She didn't elaborate on that. Or I set the smaller pieces out for the birds. They love the bright colors. Ah, wow. Okay, yogurt containers. Yeah, I love yogurt, and we buy it by the tubs. So, and also cottage cheese and stuff like that. We eat that with our fresh apples and frozen apples and all that kind of stuff. So yogurt containers. So she says, I love yogurt, and I usually buy the big tubs. I don't make my own yet, and I have made my own yogurt. If I do get the smaller containers, I use them for soap molds. That's a good idea. So as a soap maker, I look for molds wherever I can. These make a bar that nicely fits into your hand, and that's what you want. Some of the bar containers that I have bought for making soaps, they're too big. It's okay for a dude, for a dude's big hand, but a woman doesn't want a great big huge bar of soap. So that's a great idea, the yogurt containers. All right, number 9, vitamin and prescription bottles. Okay, she says, while I don't have many of these, they make great containers for keeping seeds from year to year. You better believe that. Deja Lee, my friend Deja Lee, gave me a bunch of seeds one time, and they were all in those little pill bottles. And they are perfect. Now, she said glass ones are perfect for storing do-it-yourself products. So if you, and even for your office, to keep your paper clips and everything kind of organized in your office, that's a grand idea. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one. It's baby food jars. And this is a great idea. Somebody gave me a bunch of baby food jars one time, and this is exactly what I used it for. She says, I don't have kids, but a lot of my friends do. I use the jars for spices. The wide mouth makes it easier to get a measuring spoon inside. Yeah, that is an absolute grand idea. So we have I grow my own herbs and everything. So I dry my herbs, and that's what I keep mine in. It's just like old pill bottles, but I'd rather use glass. I like glass much better than plastic. But baby food jars do work absolutely fantastic on there. And who cares if it says Gerber on top of the label? I mean, on top of the lid. So anyway, and just make your own little labels. You can print it, write it. You don't have to be so crazy about it. But anyway, I think that's a grand idea. Okay, let's see. Oh, I can't wait to tell you about number 11. It's about sheets. Let's cut to a commercial break, and we're going to be right back in just a couple of minutes. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also check the podcast out there, netnewsnetwork.net. Make sure you check it out. It's a lot of fantastic talk show hosts are on this particular website, and I'm just thrilled that they let me be on it. So, but we all speak the truth. And so if you're looking for the truth and justice and you really don't care whether somebody's a Democrat or a Republican, you just don't care, you want truth, that's a real good one right there to go with. Okay, so we are talking about 15 ways to repurpose your trash. And it's 15 ways. So the author says I'm really big on recycling, and so am I, reusing and repurposing. So find ways to use everything I have. So as a result, I've increased the content of my recycling and composting and cut back on my trash. On average, I have one large bag of trash about every 2 weeks. Cutting down on packaged items is one thing, but finding ways to use what's normally thrown away is a whole other idea. So here's some of the favorites. We talked a little bit about the boxes. You can use those for storage. That's a grand idea. And also pantyhose, man, I really didn't think about it. Now wash them really good, you know, and so you can use those for the yarns that yarns together for wool felting, which is another good idea. And she also stores her onions and potatoes in them. I like the idea of that. And so again, what she does with the pantyhose, so here's the leg, okay, let's pretend that's the leg. So what she does is in the very bottom, she puts a potato or an onion in it, and then she just ties it. And so it leaves that one. You got all this other pantyhose right here that you can toss. This way, your potatoes and onions are going to last longer because guess what? They're not touching each other. When they touch each other, they want to fuss and fight, and then they start rotting. Okay, so that's the reason behind that. Plant tops, you know, a great way you can grow carrots, turnips, and pineapples by that. I really like what she said about pineapple skins. And they're a great source of fruit acid. And fruit acid is what you need for your skin. And it also exfoliates, and exfoliates like a kind of like a chemical peel, but it has no chemical in it. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad. That's my takeaway from the whole one. Fruits and vegetable scraps. And I really like the idea she came up with is putting everything, just when everything's done, or when you're canning or whatever, put those scraps in a blender and kind of let it chop them up a little bit, and it works quicker in your compost pile. So just throw them out in the compost pile. Feed bags, and so she gets a lot of these, and she says that she uses them to hold trash. That's just another great idea. And she said if they still look good, she donates them to a local woman who makes purses and tote bags out of them. Yeah, find out what your neighbors do. They may have some kind of crafting they do, and just call them and say, hey, I got a bunch of bags here if you're going to make some purses out of them. It's a great thing to do. And you're helping each other out. That's what neighborhoods are for, right? Yogurt containers, I really love this idea about using it for a soap mold. I think that's great because it's small enough it fits right into your hand. Vitamin and prescription bottles, I think that's a great idea to use that for keeping your seeds in it. And when you do this, when you put your seeds into a bottle like that, make sure you put the year, okay, that you have the seeds. I still have seeds that my granddad had saved from. As a matter of fact, I've got some of those out there in the garden right now. He passed away in the year 2000. There's seeds that he probably had for 10 years way before he passed away. And this is the year 2023. So look how long those seeds have lasted. You got to keep them in a cold, cool, dark place and make sure nothing, no kind of moisture gets to them. That's why I really don't like putting them in plastic bags, because they need to stay dry. And the only thing about putting them in a plastic bag is when you take them out and you're trying to decide which seeds you want to plant this year, they're going to kind of thaw just a little bit, and it could be that condensation gets on it, so it's going to sweat a little bit, you know. And some of that ice, the water evaporation is going to melt out on it. So and it's okay if you never take them out and then you start using them. But if you take them out, you got to make sure you put them in a paper bag, okay? Just don't do plastic. It just never works. I've had people say, well, I had mine in the freezer and they don't work. And then I'll say, well, how many times have you taken them out of the freezer and just set them up on the counter trying to figure out what kind of beans you want to plant? Well, I do that all the time. Well, that's why. And then you put it back into that bag. It's got some sweat on it. So when it gets in the freezer, you just lost it. So you just lost your seeds. And also anything, make sure that even if it's in I keep paper bags for that. A brown paper bag is actually better, they say, than a white. I don't know that it's a difference, but they say it is. Okay, now I promise you when we came back, we're going to talk about sheets. I think this is a cool idea right here. So when my cotton sheets wear out, I use them for landscaping fabric. It works great for keeping the weeds down, and then it biodegrades in a few years. So it goes down into the earth. And you think about it's composting is what it's doing. Now, if you want to put your sheets into your composting pile, I'm going to guess they would work a lot faster, kind of like she said, with bags and with boxes and things like that. If you're going ahead and kind of shred it if you can, I would think it. And make sure you take the elastic, like if it's a bottom sheet, you want to take that elastic off, that kind of fits as a fitted sheet into your bed. So I would take that elastic off because that's not all natural. Okay, water bottles. What can we do with them? Goodness gracious. That's number 12. She said, when I was not aware of the problem related to plastic water bottles, I bought bottled water in bulk. I saved the bottles to do something with later. Now I use them to mix and pour my tinctures and other solutions. I still don't store them in bottles, but to mix a batch and pour very easy. You know what? I actually use resin a lot of my crafting projects, and that's jewelry or yard art or anything like that. And so I have to measure it. I'm using the 2-part. So when I measure it, I've got to have an exact measurement. This would be great because I'm telling you, if you ever put resin in something, toss it, throw it away. You'll never be able to use it again. But it would be great to have precise measurements because when you're mixing resin and it's the 2-part, you've got to have exact equal parts because if you don't, it's going to be all messed up. It won't harden the way it should. It may turn a weird color. It may just do all kinds of crazy stuff. So that would be great because most of the water bottles have these little wedges, little ridges in them. So you'd be able to get the exact measurement. That's a great idea. Okay, now paper and Phil saves all the paper. So from newspaper to typing paper, she says, I use it all. Newspaper gets used as a base to cut soap. As a base to cut soap with a clean paper over it. That's a great thing to do. And to mix lye on. It can also be thrown out or composted. That's what we use it for. Typing paper gets used in cut soap on the back side of it. I have some flyers left over from an event that we had in a park a couple of years ago, and I use those for soap labels. Yeah, when I'm selling them, I'll just cut them into strips, and my soaps I'm selling to the public, well then I'll just get some hot glue and just put that on there. Then I put my label on top of it, and it just kind of looks like a little cartoon-like thing. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, now let's talk about this one. She says, this is number 14. She said, this is one of my best secrets. She said, I work part-time in a fabric store. I bring home the shorter cardboard bolts that the fabric comes in. Then I have an old metal rack that chips have been sold on. These bolts fit nicely on the rack and can be set at any interval. I use these for curing my soaps, but it could be used for any kind of storage. Yeah, when you make soap, you got to make sure it cures before you get it out there. I never do a fresh batch and sell it. I've got to have it setting out because you're putting some like a little bit of oil and stuff like that into it. And if you're going ahead and wrap it up, people think your soap is old and it's not. What it is some of the oil is coming out of it and it's coming out on your label. So you really need to set it somewhere and let it kind of do its natural thing. Okay, I can't wait to see what this is about. Broken coffee cups. So this is a great idea. Okay, so if they're in really bad shape, I use the pieces in my fairy gardens. If not, they can be used for desktop storage, especially for pens and pencils. So we are going to have a show, and I can't wait to tell you about this. The show is going to be about broken pieces. Okay, it's going to be about broken china. And so I have found a bunch of china at Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop. And so what I'm going to do is break it up into pieces, and we're going to use concrete, and we're going to make some stepping stones out of it. I love stepping stones. I just think it's just cool in a garden. And it just happens to be the same china, the same pattern my grandmother had. I inherited her china. And so, and it's real pretty. It's really dainty looking. And so this would be kind of like having, I'm not breaking my grandmother's china, of course not. But what I'm going to do, and you and I are going to play around with this. So we're just going to break the china. This is going to be a fun show. And we're just going to get china, we're just going to break it. I'm going to get a hammer, we're just going to go for it, just smash it. Now, the best way to smash your china, if you're going to do something like that, or if you go to a thrift store or a yard sale, is to get the hammer. And you know how you have, where you hammer, the hammer head right here, and then you have the back here where you could take a nail out of the wall or whatever. Don't do it that way. Hold it flat side, the flat side, and then you just kind of go down on the china like that. And that takes really good care of it. We're going to have another show about homemade ranch dressing. As a matter of fact, I think we can go ahead and do this now. I've got time. Let's do it now. Okay, this is homemade ranch dressing. And let me go ahead and get this thing to move up. Hurry up. Okay, everybody wants ranch. I mean, it's like every time we go out to eat, I get fries or even if I get a baked potato, I go, ranch. And like dipping into my chicken fingers and stuff, I like to use ranch dressing. But it's just this little slice of heaven, that's all I can say. And a kid's going to eat any kind of vegetable if you put just a little bit of ranch dressings in a little cup for them. So this is how it goes right here. Okay, she said she's tried this recipe many times with fresh and dried garlic and onion, fresh and dried parsley, more or less milk, cream cheese instead of sour cream, and just about any other variation you can think of. But she said she has found a way that is really good. So here's the recipe. I'll hurry up and go with it. Ingredients: she uses 3/4 cup of organic sour cream, 1/2 cup of whole milk, preferably from your local pasture, 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. You got to chop that up. 1/2 teaspoon of real sea salt. You want 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. Make your own onion powder. We're going to have a show on that too coming up pretty soon. Also 1/8 teaspoon of dried dill, 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground pepper, and use the peppercorns. That way you know there's no filler in it. It is freshly ground black pepper. Okay, and then you're going to need 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now, to make this ranch dressing, you're going to start by stirring together the milk and the lemon juice in a small bowl. And it kind of turns into buttermilk. Let it set for about 10 to 15 minutes. And she just says this is the cheater's version of buttermilk. Combine the milk mixture and the sour cream in a medium-sized bowl. You want to whisk it until it is smooth. Add the dry ingredients and whisk those until thoroughly combined. Transfer the dressing into a jar with a tight-fitting lid and refrigerate. Now, you want to shake it often. Shake it before you use it each time. It'll keep a few weeks in the refrigerator if it lasts that long inside your house. I'll tell you something that tastes better than anything, and that's when you get your fresh cucumbers in from the garden, put them in slices, make this ranch dressing, and oh, it's to die for. But I'll tell you something I would probably add, and that's chives. I have chives in my garden, and so I would cut up little bitty pieces of chives. Usually if you've got some kitchen scissors, make sure that's all you use it for, and just cut it up in little pieces, and man, you got some ranch dressing that's to die for. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna. I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. Looking forward to seeing you next time around.